Daniel Tiger isn't the kind of cartoon most people think hides big mysteries. But what if we told you that the show is actually full of unanswered questions, and some of them might be hiding some pretty dark truths? Where's Grandma? Daniel's grandpa shows up in the show every now and then to visit the little tiger, who really loves him, but the same can't be said about Daniel's grandma. In fact, she's never appeared in the entire series, and that's super strange. Because of that, a lot of people who watch the show keep wondering where Grandpa Tiger's wife is. Everything suggests that Grandpa lives far away, since his visits are quite rare, and Daniel truly treasures every moment he spends with him, exactly because he can't see him all the time. Maybe Grandma doesn't show up because she's in fragile health and can't travel long distances, having to stay in a hospital most of the time. But there's also a much sadder possibility that can't be ignored. Maybe Daniel's grandma has already passed away, either from old age or from some illness. In that case, Grandpa would be a widower, which is heartbreaking. And that's just the first of the 9 biggest mysteries you need to know about Daniel Tiger. Stay tuned because another Cinewave full of new stuff is starting now. Katarina's father. Katarina Kitty Cat is one of Daniel's best friends, and he's visited her house several times to play. What's curious is that whenever the little tiger goes over there, you can clearly see that the only other person who lives there is her mother. But her father? He never appears or is even—
President Trump's border policies solved Biden's border.
Her father? He never appears or is even mentioned. Yep, just like Daniel's missing grandma. Only this case is even more mysterious. Daniel's grandma doesn't live with him anyway, but Katarina's dad should live with her, unless her mom isn't married to him anymore. Could that be the reason why the character never appeared? Some fans believe it's much more than just a divorce. If Katarina's parents were only separated but still kept in touch because of their daughter, there would have been at least one episode showing her father, but he never appears or even gets a single mention. Also, if you pay close attention, Katarina has a super girly personality, even more than other girls in the show like Elena. That could be a subtle hint that she never had a father figure in her life. Having only a woman as her example, she became 100% feminine. It's kind of sad to think that Katarina might have never met her father, right? But then comes an important question. Did her dad lose his life, or did he abandon both his wife and daughter? Either of those scenarios would be enough reason for the show to avoid talking about him. The truth might just be too dark for Daniel Tiger's young audience to handle. Oh, the owl's parents. To wrap up the topic of missing relatives, we have to talk about Oh the Owl's family. He lives with X, who is his uncle, but his parents? Nowhere to be found. And yes, we're talking about both of them. Neither his mom nor his dad ever appear in the show, which makes it clear that he lives only with his uncle. We don't even need to say that the reason why they never appear has never been explained, which only makes it seem like the truth might actually be pretty dark. If both of O's parents passed away, it probably wasn't because of an illness, but rather because of something that took both their lives at once, like a car accident, or maybe even a robbery that ended in tragedy. One theory some fans believe is that O's parents were actually involved in criminal activities and ended up going to prison, which made Uncle X gain custody of the little owl. That would explain why O is such a quiet and well-behaved kid. It might just be his way of being completely different from his parents and more like X, who never abandoned him. If you also think these mysteries deserve answers, comment below #answers. Dad Tiger's color. Dad Tiger has a look all of us who've watched the show recognize. He looks like Daniel, just bigger and wearing blue clothes. But he used to be very, very different. That's because some Daniel Tiger characters existed before the cartoon was created. They first appeared on the children's show Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Dad Tiger was one of those characters, appearing as a puppet. Back then, he was still a child and was called, guess who? Daniel Tiger. Yes, the main character of the current show is Daniel Jr. But here's the weird part. At that time, Dad Tiger's colors were much lighter compared to his current coloring. How did he just change color? It makes no sense. Or could it be that he only has his current color because he picked up the habit of dyeing his own fur? If people dye their hair in real life, it's not that crazy to think some animals might do the same in cartoons. What's curious is that Dad Tiger's original color is lighter, which makes him look a lot like Katarina. You see where we're going with this? In case it's not clear, we're saying there's a chance Katarina's father is actually Daniel's dad. Besides his original color being practically the same as the kitties, the Tiger family and Katarina's family are very close. Katarina visits Daniel's house a lot, and the two families even get together to eat sometimes. All of this would make perfect sense if Katarina's mother were Dad Tiger's ex-wife. Even though they separated, they remained great friends and kept in touch because of their daughter. And yes, that would mean Daniel and Margaret would be the kitties' half-siblings. It might not even be a secret within the family, but rather something everyone knows. The kids just consider it so normal that they don't even feel the need to talk about it.
Different eyes.
But that's not the only mystery involving a member of the Tiger family, because Margaret has her own mysteries too. Or at least her eyes do. If you look closely, you'll notice the little one's eyes are blue, unlike all of her relatives. Why does she have different colored eyes? Sure, you could say it's genetics. Kids don't always inherit their parents' eye color. Sometimes they take after another relative. However, not even Grandpa Tiger has blue eyes. So we have no idea who the little girl inherited that color from. Was it Grandma? We'll have to wait for the day this question gets answered. But let's be honest, maybe it'll never happen. Humans. Unlike Bluey, humans exist in Daniel Tiger, and in much larger numbers than in Peppa Pig. There are several characters who are regular humans, and they live alongside the animals. But why? If humanity is real here and on a large scale, what's the reason for animals who walk and talk like people? That's never been explained, but some folks believe the animals aren't truly on equal footing with humans. Think about it. The neighborhood is led by King Friday, Prince Wednesday's father. In other words, the royal family in the series is made up of humans. The other human who stands out in the show is Elena. Even though she's just a child, people usually call her Miss Elena, which is quite formal. That kind of treatment doesn't happen with the animal characters, like Daniel and Katarina. It's not wild to think that, even though the animals have a good life, they might still be seen as lower in this world's social hierarchy. Ever thought about always having new animation content on your feed? Just subscribe and hit the bell. Cats and tigers. Speaking of that, there's something else that makes anyone who thinks too hard about it start scratching their head. We've already seen that Daniel Tiger's family and Katarina Kitty Cat's family get along super well. There's even a chance that Daniel's feline friend might actually be his half-sister. But in real life, cats and tigers don't get along at all. That's because tigers are way more ferocious and see cats as possible prey or even competitors. After all, they share some similarities. Since cats are at a huge disadvantage compared to their big feline cousins, from strength to size, tigers would easily wipe them out. So it's completely unrealistic to see them interacting as friends in the show. Especially because Daniel has already shown many times that he carries that fierce side of a real tiger. Feline cousins, from strength to size, tigers would easily wipe them out. So it's completely unrealistic to see them interacting as friends in the show. Especially because Daniel has already shown many times that he carries that fierce side of a real tiger, getting irritated with extreme ease. But there's one situation where tigers and cats can actually become friends, when they're raised together in captivity. If that's the case here, it kind of makes sense, but it would also mean that Daniel Tiger's neighborhood is, in fact, one gigantic animal enclosure. Since all the animals grow up together inside it, they get used to one another and don't attack each other. Young adults. Just like Daniel has Margaret, Prince Wednesday also has a brother, only his brother is older, Prince Tuesday, and several episodes show how close these two siblings really are. But have you ever noticed something strange about Prince Tuesday? The odd thing is that he's the only character in the entire series who's a young adult. Seriously, if you look closely, you'll realize that the cast is made up exclusively of little kids or full-grown adults old enough to be parents. The only exception is Prince Tuesday, who's too young to have kids but too old to go to Daniel's preschool. Some people even joke that this is why he spends his free time playing with his younger brother or working. Prince Tuesday just doesn't have anything else to do since he has no friends his own age. It's kind of sad, honestly. The Clock Shop. The only thing sadder than that is Dad Tiger, who works at a clock shop. Okay, that's not the problem. The problem is that everything suggests he never actually sells any clocks. His shop is full of them and they're never out of stock. Which sounds good, but it anything else to do since he has no friends his own age. It's kind of sad, honestly. The Clock Shop. The only thing sadder than that is Dad Tiger, who works at a clock shop. Okay, that's not the problem. The problem is that everything suggests he never actually sells any clocks. His shop is full of them and they're never out of stock. Which sounds good, but it really means that no one's buying anything. I mean, come on, who really needs analog clocks these days? You can just check the time on your phone, but it's hard not to wonder how Daniel's family sounds good, but it really means that no one's buying anything. I mean, come on, who really needs analog clocks these days? You can just check the time on your phone, but it's hard not to wonder how Daniel's family manages to afford their life, considering they live in such a big, beautiful house that must have cost a fortune. Could this be King Friday's doing? He's a close friend of Daniel's family and also incredibly wealthy, so it's easy to imagine him helping them out financially. In that case, Dad Tiger might only be working at the clock shop to keep himself busy. More like a hobby, you know? Take the chance and watch the 2 videos we left on the screen. I'm sure you'll have fun. See you soon.